Hello? Hello, guys. I'm back. We are live again with this nice background music. Very relaxing, I would say. Okay, so we can restart. We can restart. Where did we left? Where we left that we managed to compile the three most important classes that we had for the inventory system, and those three classes were slot manager, exchange manager, and server char manager. So all three are now compiled. What we can do, we can check if the startup of the server is working properly when we initialize those three classes. First, we need to ensure that all the three are properly started when the server starts. So let's go and check. So we have Exchange Manager. We have Exchange Manager here, so that is actually initialized. We have where is it? We need slot manager as well. I don't know if his slot manager is actually initialized already. Seems not. Let me just check. Let's just search slot manager in this document. No, we don't have it yet. Okay, so let's search on the old code if we had, I don't know what happened to these windows, if slot manager was actually started when the server was starting. We have a server char manager initialized. Okay, started as part of the initialization of server char manager. You see here, is doing slot manager, new slot manager. Okay, that's fine. So we should just check if server char manager is actually getting initialized, and we can see it here. Yes, server char manager, there is initialization. So let's check the new code. Server char manager initialized. Okay, so we're initializing everything. Now let's check if it works, if it doesn't give any error. So we want to check server char manager, and we want to check exchange manager, right? The fact that both are properly started. This one actually doesn't do much, so there is not an initialization of it, it's just the creation of the class. Yeah. So let's try to launch this in debug mode. Let's try to launch the server in debug mode, and I already placed the breakpoint here so that we can check if it's properly starting. Or probably I can place a breakpoint directly here where we have our server char manager. The moment it says that it's not hitting the breakpoint, I think because we need to recompile also the other piece. So let me do it. So we just have to go here and delete. Why all my windows are messed up? We just have to go here under Win64 and delete these two. And start it again. So that also the PS Unreal DLL is getting regenerated when we compile. Hi Greg, welcome. Hello Maui, welcome back. So we recompile also the DLL and we see what it does. So the plan, what is the plan? The plan is that as soon as we have the majority of the classes server side properly initialized, then we can really start to play with the Unreal Engine on the client side and putting together the pieces. At the moment, we are still building the pieces that we need, to actually make the game. So yeah, and the creation of these pieces is obviously taking a bit, but it's normal. We are reusing a lot of the old code, the code that we have in our existing game, and that's very good. I have a good feeling that we are reusing much of it, and most of the messages should be similar, should be the same. Okay, so now it's recompiling it. Sometimes I get different errors in this recompile compared to the one that I get in Visual Studio. I don't know if this would be the case, but sometimes we get some additional messages. We have a lot of warning that we should get rid of. At the moment I didn't do it yet, but yeah, we should remove all the warnings. You are knowledgeable in Visual Basic? Okay, that's good. At the moment we are working with C++, because I mean, originally, let's say, Unreal Engine is made in C++, and also our previous game is made in C++. We trigger a breakpoint, so something. Oh, I know why. Okay, now this is an interesting point. Basically, while before we were instantiating only PS items which were not Unreal Engine actors. Now, since my latest changes, we are actually, our items are proper actors for Unreal, right? And this means that when we instantiate a new item, it's most likely that Unreal is trying to spawn it into the world. And so we have to double check exactly what is going on, like where we are coming from. Let me check. We are coming from the creation of APS character. I don't know exactly where we are coming from, but all of this seems to be game mode, PS character loader, so statically load class, Dermorian C. Okay, so we are loading the Dermorian object, and while we are loading the Dermorian object, for some reason we go into PS character inventory. Okay, because there is a constructor. Yes, there is a constructor for our Dermorian character, which is actually trying to initialize her inventory. You see, and this is exactly the piece that we need. It's trying to initialize her inventory, and in the initialization of this, I just have to understand if this is when we spawn the character or if it's just preparing it. Character loader, static load, init game, PS character loader, find the answer, static load class. Yes, because here I'm actually making the Dermorian available as a blueprint class, which I will then use later on when I need to assign it. Okay, this is a bit of a hack actually. It's not the best, to say, kind of code, but I think it's fine. It proves the point that when we are loading a character, we load also his inventory, and we should check what is going on here. So yes, we load the inventory, we start to initialize it, we start to initialize it here. We get a character owner, which is actually the Dermorian female. And okay, if cache manager is not yet initialized, we return, we check the bulk slot. So here we are basically initializing all the bulk slot of the inventory to empty. Okay, so this is just initialization. Then we set the basic weapon. Okay, we set the basic weapon. This I think will have to be done differently from now, because actually the set basic weapon, what it tries to do, yes, it's trying to, I think it's trying to create a new. So the way Planeshift works is that every character has a default melee weapon, like fists or claws or whatever he has, you know, like monsters have claws and such. So I think what he's trying to do here is he's trying to get, you see, the natural weapon. So loading basic fist default, exactly. So he's trying to load this. Actually, we get the stats for this, which is an item called fist, which do, I mean, a certain amount of damage and such. We instantiate the basic item, and after we did this, we are trying to apply to the inventory, I guess. Let me check. Inventory is empty. Fists were not already loaded, so it's fine. We try to instantiate the basic item, and then we are putting it in the left hand and in the right hand, right? So she will have this basic item with basic statistics in her hands, in her hand slots as a default. And then obviously if she equips a weapon, the weapon will override the basic fists, right? So that's the idea. Now the problem is that when we are trying to instantiate our basic item, the code gives an error, right? So because here what we do a new APS item. And this new APS item is also creating a new actor. Now I don't know if we need this though. The problem is that this item will actually reside only in the inventory, and it will not reside inside the world somehow. So there is a good problem, huh? There is a good point, huh? I mean, one thing is the logical item, and one thing is the 3D item. I think at the moment the problem I have is that my logical item is the same as my physical item. And so here, while I just wanted to instantiate my logical item, considering is derived from actor, I think Unreal here is trying to actually create the item in the 3D world, right? This may be a problem though for us, huh? This may be a problem. Because then what do? I go here, I create a new item, I have my transformation event, okay, which is null, pending save is null, whatever, and what happens next? I'm going to the parent and I'm creating the actor. I go inside these initialized defaults, and for some reason this object is failing. The creation of this object is failing. The object constructor called, but is not the object that's currently being constructed with new object. Maybe you're trying to construct it on the stack, which is not supported. So he's trying to create this new U object, and he's saying that initializer obj different from null pointer. Does this have a value, or object initializer obj different than this? So it's just checking that obj is not a null pointer, and that object initializer is different. Object initializer obj is different than our objects. I mean, what I can do, I can initialize the character later on. Actually, not here, because I don't know if it's a matter of when it's loaded. I mean, if it's loading too early, you know, if this character loaded is loading too early, and I'm trying to do this static load class, blah blah blah, load this Dermorian character in memory, and then this my char blueprint class is used when I create the NPC. Right? So this is why I did it. Maybe I did it too early. I can move this down into the loader. The problem I have is that I don't know if it's actually a good idea to have a PS item, which is all the work that I did, but I'm trying to understand if my PS item, right, should really be an actor all the time. Because the problem I have with the PS item is that, I mean, some of these PS items are not visible, right? Like the one that you have in the inventory. I think they are PS items, but they become actors only when you drop them into the world, right? I think it is something that I didn't think about. This is something I didn't think about. So potentially we have to split the two concepts, right? So the logical item and the physical item. Because I don't know exactly what happens when you instantiate an actor. When you do new actor, does it get immediately dropped into the 3D world, or is it just staying in memory? And if it stays in memory, I mean, that brings a lot of overhead just because it exists. Because I think we are doing a lot of new PS items, right? So like, whenever we create a new item, create a new blank instance of its class or its subclass. But should it be like, sometimes we copy an item either, so we, you know, so boys, we have to think if this is the right way or not, because it may not be the right way. For example, here I'm transferring an item, right? There is an exchange between two people, right? And what I do, I create a new item. I would like to know what happens exactly when I do this new. Can we check if, I mean, the point is, I mean, if I do new of this actor, does it spawn it? No, I don't think so, right? Because there is a spawn, but um, how do I spawn an actor? I've been trying for 9 hours now. Nice post. Regardless of the game type you are making, more often than not, there are going to be instances where you want something to appear at runtime that was not originally placed in the level. The concept of spawning an object to the world can be achieved with blueprint visual scripting and blah 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 blah. Right? Yeah, but it is just explaining you how to do it from the blueprints. The fact that you spawn an actor, that's fine. I mean, it's not. I need someone with Unreal knowledge now. I really need him now. Because my question is, hello Stigma, welcome back. My question is, should I create a logical item and a visible item? Or can I just spawn my A actor and then make it visible at a certain point? Is that too much overhead? So that's because in the previous way, right? In the previous way that we actually, I mean in the old code, we actually had PS item as a logical item, and then we had gem object, right, is one object that was physically placed in the world, right? The point is that when I spawn an item, then I would like to be able to do all of this, right? So I would like to be able to, let me check what PS item has on himself, right? PS item has all this stuff, like he can add modifiers, he can calculate his rarity, he can combine himself to a stack, he can copy himself, he can understand if he has ammo or not. There's a lot of stuff that the PS item object has. Get armor, if he's armor, if he's not armor. I mean, all of these functions I think I still need, right? And I need also if he's a spawned actor. Because let's assume he's an armor, right? I wanted to be able to equip it, right? So I need to know that he's an armor and I can equip. Is rechargeable and whatever, right? So there is a million messages here. All of that is good. The only problem is, should I don't know if you got the problem, right? Let me try to sketch it for a second so we get on the same page of what I'm doing, because at the moment I'm a bit confused on how should I proceed from here. So we have a class. Well, let's first think how it was working before, how it was working in the old code. In the old code, amazing font, huh? In the old code, the way it was working was that we had PS item, right? We had PS item, and this PS item was non-physical. So it was just a kind of a logical item, right? It was just a logical item, right? So this is what it was. Then we had another object which was gem object, which was kind of the physical item. So gem object, I mean, if you had a gem object somewhere, you know, it means that it was visible to people. At least that is my thinking, right? So if I, for example, if I take a function that drops an item, okay, there should be a drop item or something here in the old code, right? Let me check if I can drop an item from my inventory, because this is exactly when it's instantiated. I have in my inventory is like a list of stuff. Then I let me search for drop. Schedule drop, handle drop message, right? Handle drop message. For example, this one. Let me see, what is it? Economy manager, PS drop event, economy manager. So it creates a drop event, add a transaction, drop, and then okay. But when is this PS drop event executed actually? PS drop event, I want to see when this gets executed. For example, here we are inside PS character. We generate a drop event with name, UID. An item is actually a PS item, you see? Come on. You can do it. Okay. Item is actually a PS item. So item is, yes, a PS item. So it's our logical object. So I get my logical object and I say drop this logical object. I have the ID, the name, the stack count, the quality, the whatever, and also the object ID, because I keep the object ID. Then I generate this drop event, and then I fire this event, which I don't know exactly how is then implemented. How is it implemented? Do we have a drop event fire? No. How do I know that this drop event gets executed? I want to see where is actually dropping the item. What happens? I think it should happen client side and server side, because I think they should be on both sides, right? Because the server should know it, should know that there is a physical event on the ground, for example, where people can pick it up, right? So it must be on both sides. So PS drop event, attach new, PS drop event, blah blah blah. ToString is not doing shit actually. It's not doing much. So there is something else. There is some code somewhere that when these events get triggered, is actually creating. Let me try to search message drop event, okay? Because I want to see when we receive, like, economy manager is reacting to a message of type drop event. I'm just trying to learn how the old code was doing it, so that we can maybe use the same kind of concept. I don't know if it's a good idea, but okay. It's nowhere else. Interesting. It's nowhere else. Handle drop message. Yeah, but this add the transaction drop. Okay, add transaction. What is doing? It's just add transaction, transaction entity, trans money, blah blah blah, format, push contains, attach item supply demand, put money. But I think inside Economy Manager we are not really dropping an item, we are just transferring it to another player. So I don't think it's creating a 3D, a 3D element. I think construct a new economy drop event, add the event to the queue, schedule drop. Now there should be a simpler one, right? When we are just dropping an item. So there should be a class which is managing when I drag and drop from my inventory to the 3D world, right? And that one for sure is inside my inventory window. So if I check my inventory window, which is named inventory window, right? So if I go inside of this, there must be an event. So a keep, dear keep, okay, all of that is fine. Well, also a keep is doing it, because a keep is actually create. If I keep a sword, right, the sword will be then visible, right? Will then be visible. So I think a keep is another good one to check. Let's check a keep. What is a keep doing? A keep is actually cache inventory, search cache for item to a keep. Either is next, compare no case. We found an item with a matching name. If the stack order remains since we are about to move the item from inventory to the keep slot, move it in the cache so we don't find it again. The server will soon update our inventory, and the keep slot is won't be noticed except the shortcut command and try to search cache inventory before the server updates. It's a bit more complex than what I was thinking. So basically, we are just changing the slots of an item, and somehow we send this information to the server, and the server is saying, hello, you changed your slots. And so probably is the server sending me back a message to keep something, right? Because here it doesn't do it. Here what it's just doing is to send this message to the server, this PS slot movement message. If there is any of the Planeship developers that is listening to me, I need some help from you. If not, I will figure it out. So this PS slot movement message, right? It is the one money drop message. Search for money and send this money slot. So here also we are dropping something. Drop. There is the drop command. You see, drop quantity in place item name. So there is the actual command that we may execute from the chat, which is dropping the item on the ground. Search for money and send the money slot according to the type of coins filed. Is again just triggering this. Is just triggering a PS slot movement message. container inventory, container world, you see. So basically the container is our world now. It's not a guy, it's not someone. PS slot movement message. PS slot movement message. We have to see where and when this happens. Handle slot movement. It is inside slot manager. Okay, go slot from container to slot, from container to whatever. Get character data, work container ID, not an inventory slot. Move. So container gem object, move from world container, move from money, move from offering, move from offered money, and move from inventory. Container inventory equipment. It depends what the target is though, because move inside above function based on the from container is not needed for work container to work container moves, also updates glyphs as well. Okay, so one of these functions, so like let's check move from world container, which is just here. Move from world container. What is this thing doing? It's getting the character. Okay. It's searching an object by ID. Okay. It's getting an object by ID. This work container is getting the parent item, which in this case is our world. Then is searching for a potential slot to put it. Okay, that's fine. From client get actor range to work container. So it's checking if the actor is too far or something like this. It stops all the crafting. It stops all the crafting. Then based on the type of container, moving from a work container to another work container, probably the same one but in different slot. Container gem object. To do, Talat would like to be able to put containers in work containers. Okay. That is something I wanted to do at that time. Item proposed get is container. Find object. Parent item get work container. So here is just doing all the checks needed to see if the target and the source are compatible. Okay. Now here work container can add, so here is checking if you can actually add the item. Maybe I don't know, the thing is too busy or it's too full or whatever, there is no space, or I mean there is a reason why it cannot, so it does the check. After it does the check, what is doing here is removing it from the previous container and is adding it to the new container. So I think these are the two functions we were searching for, right? So this one is removing it from one place and this one is adding it back to the new place. Now remove from container is taking a PS item, add to container is taking also a PS item. So at this point it's only working on PS item. So it says it's only working on the logical item. Let's try to see the add to container, okay, what it does. What this does. Well, actually this one is inside, wait a second. This one is inside gem actor, because the word is a gem container. Is a gem container. So it's logical, is a physical, is already a physical one. So this one is already a physical one. So add to container. Add to container. Slot changing item creation in craft is done at the very end of the event. A new item is created from scratch and replace the previous item staggered off. Auto transformation, blah blah blah. Check if crack code will ensure, blah blah. If slot number. Okay, so here what we are doing, we are just checking if the slots are fine. We find an item in the slot. If the destination slot is occupied, try and look for an empty slot. If test are done through, I don't know what it is. If gem container we are dropping the item into is not pick-upable, then we got the item placed inside. Otherwise, the item becomes public. Okay, I think that here is where it does the drop, and here is just doing some additional stuff to set who is guarding the item, who dropped it, you know, setting the owning character. I mean, it's doing all this stuff, but we don't care. I think we care about this function, add to container. Is the same one? Interesting. How can it be the same one? Because if it's occupied, it search another slot. Okay, maybe just search another. Yeah, but then I don't understand where it's dropping it. Where is it dropping it? I mean, it's not here. Adding to gem container in slot. I don't understand where is actually dropping the item. I don't understand where is actually dropping the item. Update view, do you think it's just changing? I mean, it's just changing the location like this, and then it's just updating the view? I don't believe it. It may be though, it may be. Because here what it's doing is just adding these. So here is where he actually adds the item. So this is here is adding the item to the item list, and here what it does is just saying update view, item, update view. What the hell is update view? Inform clients on view updates. Okay. Okay. So update view, what does it do? Update view is finding, okay, regarding character, who cares, is generating this message, PS view item updates, and is sending it to all the clients with multicast. So basically it changed the let me just save a few things, okay? I want to save this in our notes somewhere. Which node do we take? Why all my nodes are so weird? So then after that it calls update view. It calls this right? It calls this update view, and inside the update view, what the hell is doing? It's just generating a message. Just generates a message to the client, to all clients, because it's doing to all clients with this PS view update message. Okay. So now this PS view update, I want to see now when is received by the client. And obviously we will not need this anymore. I mean, but a major issue I have is if I have to keep a logical and a physical item. That is what is bothering me at the moment. It's bothering me a lot. I would like to see when client side I receive this message. Handle update item. There is one place where handle update item where I'm getting potentially new item location. It is in the container description window. Well, here we really don't care about this one at the moment, but at the moment I don't care about this one. There should be other places where we get this view item update. Okay. The answer is no. There is no other place. How is it possible? How is it possible there is in no other places? Message update item. Let me search for this one. Message update item. I'm searching on the entire solution, so means that it's absolutely everywhere. But it's not this. It cannot be only here. Construct a message to go out to a client. Destination client, destination container ID. It's always a word container. The slot in the container, name of the item, the mesh, the name of the material, the number of items, the gem ID. So yeah. Yes, but client side, I should receive this. I mean, client side, I should receive this and do something, not just that small thing. I'm missing something. I don't know what I'm missing, but I was expecting to have a place in the client where we are receiving this message, but not only here, not only inside a container description window. Who cares about the container description window? I don't even remember what is this one. This one I think is just the one where you right click on an item and you see its description, you see what he has, why we have it here. We send only to multiple clients, so each client might decide if the item is owned by them or not. It's double checking the service. Someone tries to move an item, so hacking this to override just breaks the display, but does not enable cheats. Okay. I mean, is it really only here? End of view container. I don't know, I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Okay, let's do this because I'm starting to get super confused. Let's launch the old. Let's launch the old client with debug in all the messages, and we see what happens because I'm so confused now. I don't know. From the code, I cannot get what it's doing. So I was trying to open this file. Do I have? Yeah, I have log messages enabled. Okay, on this client, I have log messages enabled. So if I launch it, and then I just keep an item or drop an item or do something, we will see the messages going through. Right? I think is what we should do because otherwise I'm getting so confused. I want to understand how the old code works first. Right? Can I change the font of this one so you can see it? Because I think you cannot see if it's too small. Yeah, let's do it like this. Okay, like this you will be able to see it. So let's connect to the main server. Let's just go in. And let's try to be in a place with not too many people so we don't get, you know, oops, we don't get any messages. Okay, so like here is only me. This place is only me, so I don't get any specific messages. The only messages that I'm getting now, I think, is the death reckoning, so which is the heartbeat. So basically the fact that I'm alive and I'm standing in this place. Right? Now if I open the inventory, obviously we get this huge message with all the inventory stuff. Okay, we don't care about it. By the way, I don't know if all this is really needed, but we are sending a ton of shit. Okay, then now if I move like the stuff that I have in my hand, you see that I have stuff in my hand. This one, I'm gonna move this and this and this. Okay, move with the chat as well. Boom, inventory, send it again. Every time I open the inventory window, it sends it again. Okay. So if I remove this stuff from my hand, so I click it and I drop it in my inventory. Okay. Well, first of all, it's sending me again the inventory. But then, wait a second, let's just select all and copy and put it into a text file so we see exactly what happened. So he sent all this inventory again, which is huge by the way. It did a message slot movement. It did a message type slot movement from container -1 slot 1 to container -1 whatever. And this was sent and then we have a message type equipment, right? Where slot 1 mesh weapons 101 part texture mesh remove mesh, right? So there are two things that are happening. One is this slot movement and one is this message equipment. Now I don't know why we couldn't see it in our code, but there must be somewhere here a message equipment that is triggered. I don't know where or how. Right? Maui, you're saying it gets moved and check the slot and actualize the inventory for the player. Yes, that is what it's doing. I'm just trying to understand where the hell in our client we are getting message type. So for example here, I mean client char manager is subscribing to this message. So I'm expecting that inside of this, it is handle equipment. Okay, handle equipment. Handle equipment. The current document is here. So it gets the message that he has to drop the stuff. He has to remove the stuff, and is searching an object inside gem client actor. Go to equipment for actor, but couldn't find it. No. Go to equipment for actor. Blah blah blah. If the mesh has dollars, remain the name, the browser. Okay, here is really where he's doing a keep mesh. Update any doll views registered for change. The doll view is the view that we have in the inventory window. So it's basically trying to update this view that we have in the middle inside the inventory window, so that my character actually looks like it doesn't have the stuff anymore. So list subscriber, dolls, get sites, whatever. Doll object, char appearance doll, get char appearance clone. I don't know, he's doing so much stuff here, I have no idea. Equip and de-equip. Pierce char appearance. And then here is update the actor. Okay. So it is really where it does the stuff. Right? It is really where it does the stuff, because it says update the actor. So if it's an equip message, so if I'm putting an item on me, I go under object character appearance equip. Let's see what it does. Let's see what it does. Bracelet might be managed separately to slot, blah 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 blah. Bracelet, okay, bracelet a bit special because we have to put two items, one to the right, one to the left, I guess. Show meshes. If it's a new mesh, attach that mesh. Mesh length, texture length, attach. If it's a sub mesh on the model change, so change the mesh for that part. Sub mesh length. It is a bit of a different thing though, because it is just the look of the character, you know. So it's not that this item really exists in terms of its own. I mean, you cannot click on the stuff that I have on my hand, right? So it's not really an item, it's just the look of the character, it's just how the character looks, right? So I think what it does here is just changing the mesh on the part of the model, so it's just changing it here, but it's not really creating a new PS item or a new gem actor, right? It's not doing it. I think we have to do the same, but check when I drop an item. Then when I drop an item, I think it's better. So if I drop this stuff here, apart from the fact that it's sending me again the whole inventory, and okay, maybe it's not the best idea, but it's what it's doing. Message type glyph request. No. What is this? Now, this is not the message for sure. Message GUI inventory command. This is not the message. Something happened and we didn't track it. It's too many messages. Let me just increase the size of the scroll window. Properties, layout. No, what is it? Yes, here. Let's say 8,000 characters. Okay, it's now 8,000 characters. Okay, so let's do it again. Let's pick it up. Let's pick it up. And let's drop it again. We get a million messages. I don't know why, but it seems a super slow method. But we are sending again the whole inventory. Oh crap! I did copy instead of. Okay. Okay, let me check here. So, okay, sending me the inventory. It's fine. Then it's sending me this, which I have no idea what is it. Then it's sending me the inventory again. I don't know why it's doing it twice, but it's sending a message to everyone saying that Talad dropped the magic staff. Okay, so this is just the actual visible effect in the chat. So in the chat here we say, right, we see Talad Dev drop a magic staff. You can see it in the chat, but then we can see also this one, which is a message type persist item, right? Exactly. So this one is the one that is probably creating a new item in the world. Message type persist item. Message type persist item. Let me just check this one. Message type persist item. Persist all entities. Well, persist all entities, I don't know what is it. Maybe this one is a bit more generic. Persist item, message, handle type of entity. No, I don't think it's here. Persist item. Come on, there must be another place where it's doing this. There must be another place. But I'm really thinking yeah, the log is massive because I enabled the massive log. I enabled it to print out everything that happens. Which is pretty good, by the way. It's what we need now. So it's good that we add that. So this guy subscribes to persist item, and this guy, whenever receives a message, new item queue push me. Okay. So it's pushing an item to the queue. Force entity queue. New actor queue pop. Handle item. Okay, I think it's inside of this. It's just a queue to handle, let's say, the items in sequence, because maybe you receive too much stuff, at the same time, and you cannot actually process it. So here what it's doing is gem client item, new gem client item. So here is where it's doing actually the instantiation of the item. So it's only when I'm dropping it, because it doesn't have, let me just say, new gem client item, right? New gem client item is just item blah 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 received, queue registry, load mesh. So it is when it is where it's loading the mesh. Substitute rational mesh facts, start loading the real output in the background, register the layer loader, check load status. Okay, it is when it's loading the mesh. Okay. But basically what I understand is that it's doing this new item, and then is adding the entity. Add entity. Let me see if there is any description. There is no description. That's a pity. If we already have an entity with the same ID, remove it. The server might have sent an updated version. Alternatively, we may have simply missed the remove object. Add entity, find object, get char manager, get target. We need to first lock the old target. It's going to be deleted. Char manager, lock target, set target, NPC replace, remove object, push, entities push. new gem client item. There is client side, right? There is client side. What happens server side? I mean, if I receive the same, because I will receive the same message, right? I will receive the same message. I will receive the same message server side, I guess. Right? There is client side. Okay, the client is actually creating this new gem client item. He's putting it into the list, and then it's just loading the mesh, and you see it. And it's fine. I mean, it's fine, I don't know, but anyways, what it does. The point is, if I'm server side, what happens to this thing? Please give me a server side. Something server side which is identical to this. Identical to what we've seen on the client. I'm expecting it to be also on the server side. I really hope it is there. If not, I don't know. So we have network manager, which is subscribed to the persist item. Network manager is actually an handle item. Okay, this seems to be pretty much the same as the client side. Okay, handle item. Handle item, what is doing is creating the persist message, is searching the object, and is creating a new NPC, add a new item to the world. NPC client add. Why is this only NPC client? I have no idea, but for some reason here we are on NPC client. New gem NPC item. Why new gem NPC and not just new gem actor or new gem something else? Handle item. When we do this freaking new NPC item, do we also create the logical item? I think we should, right? Because we don't have it. So debug, blah blah blah. Init mesh. Well, init mesh. This is really creating the mesh. I don't know if what I'm looking at is helping to what I'm trying to understand. I think this part should be done completely different, probably. New NPC mesh. Okay, I'm searching my mesh. Getting the bounding box. Who cares? Creating a wrapper. Who cares? I'm getting the mesh and setting the mesh. Here I'm creating a new sprite, a new 3D sprite. So here is really where it's creating the geometry. And then it moves it. It seems that here is not working on the logical item at all. So going back to our freaking description, I see a lot of the second part, but I don't see anything on the first part. So where is the logical item in all of this? Right? In all of this back and forth, why it didn't create a new PS something? A new PS item? Because it's just moving it and it's keeping it into memory? Probably yes. Just moving the geometry. So the logical item exists all the time, and it's just the geometry that is changing. So if you drop it to the ground, it's the same logical item. It's just that you create a new geometry on the ground. If you pick it up, the logical item stays the same. You're just picking it up, so it disappears from the world, right? This is probably how it works now. So all these operations are not changing I'm not changing the logical item. It's a bit confusing though, because I was expecting the logical item to be, because if we look at our gem, for example, if we take let's take a simple one, gem object, right? If I go to gem object, no, gem item. If I go to gem item, can I go gem item? Gem item, the constructor, right? So when I create a gem item, I put in a PS item as a parameter. So actually it contains my logical item. I think I should do the same, but this means that what I did yesterday, what I did today, I mean, it's not completely wasted, because anyway I had to convert those classes and it's fine, but I have to do it differently. So I have to keep a separation of the logical item, the physical item as well. Because I mean, let's assume this for a second, right? Fuck this. Let's assume this for a second, that we are, you know, we are a guy. We are a guy, and with our legs, and with our hands, okay, and we drop an item. No, and we have a full inventory. Here we have a full freaking inventory of 1.5 million items, right? I mean, I don't want all of this to be an actor in a real engine. Right? I want all this stuff to be only logical, right? Inside the freaking inventory of this guy. Then at a certain point, this guy will drop something, right? This item is very big. Okay. Then at a certain point, this guy would say, "Oh, all this logical item. I pick one, and I drop it." So this is the time where this item gets dropped to the world and actually becomes an actor. I think it is the point where this thing becomes an A actor. I think that the way I do it now is completely fucked up. This one becomes an A actor. All of this, so all of this, which is his inventory, is not an A actor, because I think an A actor automatically exists in the 3D world, and this is why now our server is fucking up, because it's trying to load it, but we don't even instantiate the word yet. So what is loading? It cannot load, right? So what happens when I do a new? This was the question that I was asking to these guys, but I didn't get an answer. So when I when I Unreal Engine A actor new, when I do this, what happens? I want to know what happens exactly. I want to know what happens. An actor is any object that can be placed into a level. Actors are generic classes that support 3D transformations and translation, rotation, and scale. Actors can be created, spawned, and destroyed to gameplay code, C++ or Blueplane. In C++, an actor is a base class of all actors. The different type of actor, blah blah blah, no matter what actor you're using. Yeah, okay, it's fine, but I want to know what happens in C++ when I do new A actor. Does it spawn? Does it try to spawn it already? Well, we can check it in the Unreal Code if we want. I mean, we can just go to our Unreal Code and check if when I do the new, which by the way was here, because it was exactly here. It was exactly the constructor of our actor, and then for some reason this crashed, saying that we cannot create this actor or whatever. New object construction called, but it's not the object couldn't be constructed. New object may be attempted to construct in the stack, which is not supported. I don't understand what this means. If we search this, maybe we find someone that tried to do that and fucked up. Aha, there is a guy that's doing the same. There is a guy doing the same. Engine frozen meanwhile compiling simple password to close the task manager, blah blah blah. Try debugging your project. I think this guy is trying to create the actor as well when the server started up and the server is getting crazy. Thank you for providing the source code. I was able to reproduce the crash that you were seeing. You were correct when you thought that the line Supper again Keratin may be the code. The error message you were provided isn't very clear. However, when I tested, the error message has been improved a bit clearer. Your object is not called by the object couldn't be construction. You want to be able to call. Fuck. It doesn't explain shit. It doesn't explain at all. It doesn't explain why. Okay, it crashes, but man, I need to know why. Do you have an idea why, chat? Please help me. Help on the bug. You never has first time, maybe compiles. This guy got no answers. There are so few on this one, so few. Like 4 answers in the whole internet. Nice. Okay, so but I think the point is still valid, you know. The point is still valid. What we are trying to do now, unfortunately, is that because the other point is that if I do new of actor but I don't spawn it, it just stays in memory, and then when I spawn it I see it on the ground, right? Or when I do the new, it's already fucking up. And anyway, I don't understand why it gives this error. I mean, I mean, here I do new APS item. Okay. Maybe this is not the way to instantiate a new actor by C++ code. I mean, it's not the way I should do it. Maybe it's not the way I should do it, right? So if I do Unreal Engine, C++, spawn actor. How do I spawn an actor in C++? I've been trying for 9 hours. Is there an answer? Get world, spawn actor, a projectile, location, rotation, spawn info. It is spawning an actor based on a template, which is a projectile, which is a class, right? So it's creating a new actor and it's spawning it. So it's doing a new and spawn at the same time in this line. And so you will see at a specific location and rotation, you will see this new whatever projectile getting created. But it is not the way we do it. It is not the way we do it. I need to ask someone in Unreal Engine. I need help. I need help for a very basic question. Let me see if some of the guys that I usually ask are available. Let's see if iFire is there. Let's see if online cop is not there. I need someone to help me on this one. Because I'm getting a crash. Yes, I don't know. I mean, we can remove the creation there, but I'm just thinking if I remove it from here, right? Where do I put it? Um, by the way, that syntax was very beautiful. This syntax was super easy. When I do spawn actor, what do I do? Let me check when I do spawn actor myself. Because actually I do it. I do it, wait, instead of this, but I actually do it, there it is. Yeah, well, I do pretty much the same. With the difference that I'm passing in also the class of my character blueprint class. Why do I need to load that? APS character, my blueprint class. Let me just check what is the syntax of this. Spawn actor. Oh, it's parsing the solution, so we can stop it anyway because anyway it crashed. So my blueprint class. So he's taking a U class, right? He's taking a U class. My question is why U object. So U object, my character blueprint class, class default object. Class default object. The class default object used for delta-serialization of initialization. I mean, this is just to get a capsule component. Okay, this is just to understand how tall is the character. That's fine. But my point is, do I need to do it like this? Or there is a simpler way? U class. So is a U class a static thing or is a real object? I don't understand if it's an instance of something or it's just a class. It's just the class because for some reason, let me put some pointers here so we can go back. So we actually load wait a second. Let's search _C and we will find it. Oh crap, no, _C is not a good idea. This is not a good idea. Let's search derm f. Derm f. Okay, here it is. There it is. So in our PlaneShift character loader, we are doing this, which I'm not even sure if it's needed. But I'm loading in this U class with a static load class of this particular blueprint. There is a blueprint that is representing our Dermorian Thematic character. and I'm actually, I don't know what is load known, but I'm actually loading it, right? And this is where, static load class. What is this thing doing? I'm using stuff that I don't even know what it does. That's the problem. That's the problem. What is static load class doing? Thank you for the documentation. Base class, outer name, file name, sandbox. Loads a class. Load a class. What load a class means? I mean, what is this thing doing actually? My blueprint class, cast APS character, get default object. I'm doing a ton of shit here. I don't know. Okay, here I'm just checking if this blueprint exists or not. But the question is, if I don't do this here, right? If I remove this, let's assume for a second I remove this. So I'm not doing this loading at the beginning, right? I remove this. When I go here inside my PS character loader, this will be null. Class default object. Class default object. uClass. Boys, I need someone that knows a bit more than me. I need someone to help me here. Class default object, because here I'm missing what is this thing doing. I think if I just execute it like now, this will be null and class default object will get nothing. And when I'm trying to spawn it with this class, I'm just surprised, you know, that when I do this, I'm just surprised that when I do this part, it's trying to load the inventory of the character. I mean, I'm just trying to check if the blueprint is valid, and I'm getting a pointer to the blueprint. Why should load the whole thing? I mean, why should load even the inventory of it? Why should load the inventory of this thing? It is what is weird for me. Let's try to run it like this, but for sure that will be null and it will give an error. But because I mean, the point is, if I can just do new a actor, right? Keep it in memory but not spawn it, and it is not causing any disruption in the engine, that is perfectly fine. I mean, the code that we have now is perfectly fine. So we create a number of actors that are not visible in the world, and then at a certain point we spawn them, right? I think it didn't. Ouch. Yeah, I didn't recompile the freaking DLL, so it's not executing the code as it should. This is a pretty hard problem to crack anyway. It is not an easy problem. It is a pretty hard problem to crack. Because this really goes back to the picture that we drawn there. Let's rebuild, but it really goes back to this picture, right? And the fact that I don't know if this actor we can we can so if here in our inventory we can new a actor without issues multiple time, and then here we are spawning, come on, we are spawning, you know, the AI actor. So if it's like this, it's kind of fine with the code that we have. But it seems that is not what it's doing, you know. So it seems that it's not really working as expected. Where am I? I'm in. Okay, quest manager, fine, initialize. Server chat manager, initialize. Oops. By the way, we had an error in the initialization of this thing. It passed through, but it passed through the point because we removed that line, so it's not crashing anymore when it's trying to instantiate the inventory. But we are crashing when we are initializing our server chat manager. Let's check it so we know why it's failing. Slot manager seems to be initialized properly somehow. But sorry, no, here is a problem. No, wait. Here is another problem that our am I passing in the cache manager and the gen supervisor to this guy when I'm initializing the game or not? I'm passing in the right cache manager, even if why cache manager is an invalid pointer. Do I initialize cache manager later on? No. Cache manager is initialized here, so cache manager should be fine. I don't know why it's not. I don't know why it's getting. I don't know why it's wrong. Just a second. Let's redo it. Let's redo it for a second. So, or I have another cache manager variable somewhere that is messing up with us, or there is something very bad happening, because cache manager is initialized at the beginning and it should be valid. It should be valid. So cache manager has been initialized up here, and in fact is valid. Okay, so here is valid. Then when we enter into that thingy, okay, so up to here our cache manager is valid. This one is fake though. This get gem is fake, I think. It's one of the dummy that we have. I think is one of the dummies that we have. This get gem, I think is, yeah, you see it's return null. So this one is actually a dummy. So we don't have an entity manager yet, but okay. I mean, that's fine. But at least cache manager should be fine. So we initialize the cache manager I'm putting in with this cache manager. This cache manager, what is this thing? Because yeah, I think he has his own cache manager. No, I think we should remove this. This line we don't need. We just use the global cache manager, and fuck it, is much better, because I think that this one is actually, yeah, it's actually inside this class. I mean, it should still work though, huh? It should still work, because here I'm just initializing it to the proper one. So if I do this, my cache manager now should be this one. The supervisor is fucked up, but it's okay. My cache manager is fine, it is fine. So why the initialize is getting crazy? My cache manager is still fine. I go inside slot man. Unfortunately, our gem supervisor is bad. Our gem supervisor is bad because he's a fake one. Step out. So cache manager, cache manager, cache manager. F10, F10. It's fine. Up to here, everything is fine. Then when he goes inside of this line, I think is starting to mess up. Initialize. No, initialize is super simple. It does nothing. Our cache manager is still valid. Okay. It's doing some stuff in here. Okay. What? Okay, no, it's correct. It was just it was showing this line for some reason, but it's not going into that line. It said started character manager, so he started it properly. Yeah, I started it properly. It worked, so it's fine. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. The only problem we will have it now when we are initializing when we are spawning. Let's say, let's just let it run. Yeah, exactly. So now this class is empty. I mean, I could do it here, it's not a problem. I could do it just here, right? I could initialize this to be the Dermorian class. Boys, we have this problem. We have to decide how to tackle it because there is a very big problem. There is a very big problem. This guy with a kind of fluffy legs and arms is our issue. No, actually the issue is the item, but maybe his fault. Huh? Maybe his fault. When we do this, everything fucks up. If we don't do it, we don't have our character here. And we cannot load the NPC. And we cannot load the NPC. The point is, should we keep these items? Should we keep these items as a actor or not? Should we keep it? The question is super simple, but I don't have the answer. Wait a second, since one of the guys actually answered. Let me see if I can have this guy connect to the stream. He's asking me to read. He's asking me to read this article. He's asking me to read this article. I can try, but CDO is created when the engine is initialized and generate a U-class object for each class. This is true. An instance of each U-class is created during engine initialization is assigned to be the CDO for that U-class. This is to be something in my test. And the constructor will give the U-class. I created a simple actor and placed 11 of them in a new level. The constructor is after special properties. On begin play the actor, I also print out each instance, my specialty property as well as the class. The funny things I can find when I place the instance into the level, their constructor is called and their special number is set to a random value. I don't know. I need someone to speak with. Hi Fire, are you on the stream now? I need to speak with you. I need to understand how we should do this. Yeah, I can avoid doing it, but unfortunately I already changed all the code to do it. So that's why I'm resisting a bit, because I changed all my PS items to be derived from a actor. I mean, I can change it relatively quick, okay? It's not, but before undoing it, I would like to understand the theory behind. Because, okay, let's assume that we don't do it, right? That we don't do it. So basically, in my inventory, I will have only PS items, which are actually not actors, right? Which are actually not actors. But this means then that when I actually drop an item into the world, I will have to do something. I will have to create an item. You know, I will have to create something, which I don't do today in the code. Today we don't do this. Today we don't do this. We don't create. I mean, and it is server side and client side. You know, because if this item gets dropped like this here, then means that I have to spawn this into the world. I have to spawn this into the world, and what happens next, you know? And I mean, I can spawn this to the world, and then this one doesn't have. I mean, this is not my PS item, so I cannot really call all the functions that I have here, which I have a million of. I have a million functions on PS item. So my idea was to keep the same, you know, so that the same object is a PS item. When I spawn it, I spawn it. If I don't spawn it, I don't spawn it. But I can still call all the functions on PS item. I can inspect, I don't know, its strength, quality, name, description. I can inspect whatever I want, and all of this information is available. For example, when I navigate the inventory, because in the inventory I have name, description, quality, loot modifiers, whatever. Right? No, it's not a widget. It's not a widget. It's an actual item server side with a location, which is the location is inside inventory of the guy. But as soon as he drops it, okay, visually you get the actor, but all the data stays the same. So that was the idea, you know, to have all the data stay the same. Okay, let's think for a second what it takes to remove the actor from PS item. So if I have to remove the actor from PS item, it's not too complex, because if I want to remove it, I just go into APS item, and I think I just removed this. And well, there are a few functions that we added just for the actor. There are a few functions. I mean, it can still stay a U class. I think it's not a problem if it stays a U class. Even if I don't know if I can have a U class which is not derived from a real class, probably not. Probably not. So probably I have to remove also U class, generated body, and everything else. And I have to remove the 2 or 3 functions. We're not too many, we're just a few functions. We had few functions which were like the tick. Yes, like this one, tick, was derived from the actor. But anyway, the more I think about it, and the more it should be like this. I mean, it should be separate, you know. Should be separate. Should be separate. I think it should be separate. I think it should be separate because, I mean, look at this. This thing is doing a tick. So it's drawing something at every frame, you know, on this object. Like if this object is actually existing in 3D, is every actor? My question is very simple: is every actor existing in 3D or not? That is my question. I want someone to answer this question. Yeah, exactly. So yes, that's the point. But the point is this, right? The point is, if I have an actor and I just do new actor, right, in the code, right, and it is generating nothing. It's just initializing the class, but it's not spawning it. So I can have all my properties here, blah blah blah, all my stuff, but it's not in the 3D world. And then only when I do, so this is like my actor, right? My a, say my a equal to, right? And then it's only when I do my a spawn, which is not exactly like this, but just for a matter of explaining to you, right? Just when I do spawn, then it becomes an actual 3D item. So this is what I wanted to do, right? This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to have just the class with the basic data into it, which was a PS item, and then when I was calling spawn, then it was appearing into the 3D world. So that was my original idea, but probably it's a bad idea. Probably it doesn't work. I think it doesn't work because when you create an actor, I think it's automatically a 3D thing in the world. So in the blueprints, it always exists, right? Is what you're saying. It always exists. Let me try to speak with these other guys in Unreal Engine and see if someone can help me. But I really need someone that did something advanced, because if it's just people doing, say, basic stuff, let me try. Hi guys. Hi guys. Wait a second. Okay. Let me try C++. There is a C++. Hi guys. I need to know. I mean, I'm in a dedicated server setup, and I need to know if whenever I use new actor, I am actually not manager which exists in the 3D world of, or if that can be only server, can be only metadata like some attributes. And then when I spawn it, the example is I have to keep the inventory of the character server side, which is a collection of items, and then if the character is dropping that item to the ground, or one item is dropping one item to the ground, I will then spawn it. And then if the character is dropping one item to the ground, I will then spawn it. So the inventory is just a list of metadata, which is the metadata. Can this list of metadata be a subclass of an actor? Because this is what I did now, and seems not working at all. Yeah, I think we have to split it anyway. I mean, the more I think into it, the more I have to split it. Someone is answering, so let's see if these guys are answering. I'm getting, what was the error I was getting? Do I still have it? Do I still have that error message? No, I don't have that error message, right? Probably. But I think that's it. Do you want to see the discussion? Maybe you want to see the discussion, huh? Okay. I will show you. I will not show you all the other channels I'm in, but we show you this one. When I drop, so I'm speaking with these guys in a real thingy. I'm going to copy and paste something to the. I was thinking because when I spawn it already, if I need my classes appear. When I totally happen from inventory, then I have all this data. Otherwise, I will have to create a new actor and somehow keep the reference to my PS item, like with an ID or something else, so that it can retrieve the information needed server side. So I mean, this is exactly what the old code was doing, by the way. So the old code was having PS item has all the metadata, and then it was having gem actor as the actual actor in the 3D world, right? So this guy is saying, however, there may be a better approach. Okay. Okay. Maybe there is a better approach. This guy, I think, understood my problem. Right. Okay, what we can do meanwhile this guy is answering us, I think what I can do, I can try to remove the fact that this thing is an actor. Okay, let's try to remove it. I mean, it's not too complex. I just have to remove this. I have to remove, there were a few things, not too many. Set this actor to be called every frame. This one I should remove. This one I should remove. There was, I think there was tick. Then there was begin play. Yeah, begin play was another one. Begin play. And then what else? Tick and begin play, right? These were the two main thing is. Yeah, begin play. Also, this one I will remove. Then there is the fact that I have generated .h, which will not exist anymore because it's not a U class. Then I have to remove the U class itself. I think this U class I don't want, the generated body I don't want, and probably that's it. I think that's enough to remove it from a U class. Yeah, I don't think there is anything else. I don't know. Let me try to compile it this way and see what it says, okay? What is this guy saying? He's saying, Tala, don't ever use new. In C++, new allocates memory to the object. You have to call delete or anything that you call new on the most part. Okay, this is not really what I need, but from Cyan, there is a class that you create assets from, and that function as a flyweight holding all the static white data about the type of an item definition. There is a class that you actually instantiate at runtime that represents only any one instance of that type of item, an item instance. The other definition of the class of item instance should be made instance type. The other definitions of class, both classes are just inventory management stuff. You may need several more classes for things like the actual actor that gets placed in the world as a pickupable. Yes. Which would likely have a pointer to the uItem instance that needs to be added to inventory when picked up. Or for a weapon, all the meaningful state needed for a weapon that is in your hand to do what they do. Current state of a spin up, cooldown, and such. If you componentize the item definition, you probably need some system for creating counterpart component for the item instance. The code that takes an item definition and instantiate the appropriate type of item instance for it would also need to create the appropriate type of item instance component for each of the item definition components, the item definition. It makes sense that you end up with the same kind of mirroring. uItem definition component. What the fuck? I don't understand this. The latter would need to know about the former in order to do its job, and whatever factory function class you need to know to create the latter, the pointing at the former. Yeah, so I don't understand anything of what this guy said, apart from the fact that it's very close to what I need, but this text doesn't explain me how to do it. Anyway, it doesn't explain me if he's trying to use components. I don't get the text above. Is this saying that I create my item metadata inside a component, which will then be attached to an actor when I spawn it? So is this what it's saying? So that I create a component, I get a component which is just keeping the data within a text. I don't know. Because in terms of base stats and instances, okay, I already have PS item and PS item instances, right? Do I have it? I think I have PS item and PS item instances, right? Because when I create wait a second. I have PS item stats and PS item instances. Yeah, but anyway, I already have it. I already have PS item stats, the base definition, and PS item, which is an instance of those stats. This is already in the code. It is already in the code. Can I increase the window? Okay, can you read the text? Maybe you cannot, right? I'd increase it, but I cannot do it. I already have PSM stat, definition, PSM which is stat. This is already in the code. Those are two C++ classes, not U object, not U classes for now. Those are two C++, not U classes for now. So that is working already. All of that is working already. The only thing that I need to know, is how to link an actor to my classes when I spawn it and when I spawn it. So which kind of link did the simplest look at like to have was to make my PS item an actor. No, I mean when I drop it. These guys are answering anyway, which I'm very happy that they are answering. So I have someone to discuss this with, which is nice, which is very nice. These guys are. Can you read the text? Let me check if you can read the text in the stream, or if it's too small. I think it's a bit small, huh? No, it's readable. It's hard to read. I'm watching my own stream and it's hard to read, but it's at the limit, let's say. The limit of readability. Oh, at the limit. Okay. What is guy saying? In my game, I created a specific actor called item actor that points to the class definition. The class definition creates an instance. In your case, you just insert the item in your case you just insert the insert where insert what do you mean insert where where do I insert it? Can it be a component? I mean, how do I insert it? Your inventory would hold a reference to some item instance. Yes. It does already. So I have the list of my items. I know which items are in my inventory. I know which items are in my inventory. Those are PS item, PS item. So when you create a new item actor, set the item instance on that actor to your item instance in your inventory. Remove the item instance from your inventory. So when you create a new item actor, set the item instance. See, but how do I set it? How do I set it? Is that by ID or by something existing in Unreal Engine? How is the link between the actor and the PS item created? So my question is how to do the link. I mean, if I should do it by ID or if I can just set item instance. And you mean just have a freaking just okay? So it's just saying to create a okay again. Okay, I was thinking there was a way. Okay. So it's just saying create a freaking method. You are setting the instance to this, and you are just spawning it. Right? This means that our gem object is existing. We have to create our gem object again. Because believe it or not, in the old PlaneShift, we were doing exactly this. It was exactly like this. The point is when I replicate my actor, do I replicate also fuck, this is hard. When I replicate so let's assume that I'm setting the instance server side, right? So let's assume I use setItemInstance server side. right? I need the same. I need the same to be present client side. No, client side I just need the minimal information, basically nothing. Client side, I will not need this to be replicated, as I don't want all the information present to be on the client side. Okay, anyway, I think I can think about it myself now. I think this guy basically answered my question. Anyway, I think you answered my question. Now I just need to figure out what I need. I mean, how to build it exactly. But yeah, I think the point, because you know, guys, I mean, the point is very relevant. So if we, because we have client side and server side, you know, so this is not as simple as that. We have a server and we have a client on this shit. So, you know, so there is the position in the world and the position in the inventory. So PS item should not be an A actor. Okay, I think we figured this out. Okay, so it was a good idea. I mean, it was a potential good idea, but it doesn't work this way. It's impossible, because an A actor is automatically something that exists in the 3D world. So it's a bad idea to do what I was thinking to do. Okay, fine. Then when we drop it to the ground, right? So server side, there is PS item, and there is an actor which will be a PS item. This is becoming a bit weird, but anyway. Because, you know, for characters, actually, my PS character is an actor, right? Maybe just because I don't have a list of characters to load, which I don't spawn. That's probably the point, right? That I don't have a list of character. Well, actually, I have a list of character in one account, which is, but I can just keep it as a list, and when I show them, yeah. Anyway. Okay, let's go one by one. So I have my APS item, which is an actor, which is a different object, right? Because it's missing the A. The A is the difference. So let's put it in red so we all realize that there is a difference. So this APS item, okay, so it is a different thingy. And this one has a pointer somehow, right? This one is a pointer to my PS item, right? I don't want it red. I want it black. Okay. To my PS item, whatever it will be, ID number 321, whatever it is, right? Which is one of these items that I have in my inventory. So here there will be one of this, like this one, let's say. Okay, let's say this one, which is actually my PS item number 231. Okay, and I have this already. The thing that I don't have, the part that I don't have, is this one at the moment. Okay, but we can do this. We can do this. We can do this somehow. Now there is server side, right? There is server side. There is server side, and um, what happens? Okay, let's say that I instantiate these items. I instantiate my PS item. I associate it to this, and there is server side. Now client side, what happens? Client side, I don't really care about my inventory in the sense that I receive. I just have a window and I receive it. So, well, I still receive it as a set of, probably not as a set of PS items. I receive it as a list of objects that then I display just with a description and an icon. So they don't have, by default they don't have quality stats, whatever, right? So they don't have. They just have a reference to my PS item 123, 231, or whatever it is. So that's the point. So that's where the ID, you know, gets into play. It is where the ID gets into play, and is exactly as how it was in the old PlaneShift, by the way. Exactly the same way. So when the point is that on the client side, what I want to see an item on the ground which is exactly this item. Actually, I think we can just copy it fully. It's exactly the same guy. Well, there is the word already. There is the word as well. So it's exactly the same item. The difference is that this piece here, I don't want it to be replicated. This one I don't want it because there is the information that stays server side, and is the information that they may have. Imagine is a secret key of something, right? Or is so if I move to the client, the number of the door that he can open, I mean, client side you can just hack and see what is the door that he opens, and then the puzzle where you have to open 1000 doors, you just select the right door, because you can read the information from the PSI. It is not what I want. Or maybe there is I don't know, the owner, which you don't know, or maybe it's an item that you still have to identify, and before it's identified you don't have the information, right? But the server knows the information. It discovers it when you cast a spell or something. So the point is that I don't want this to be replicated. And so the question is, when I spawn this actor, and when I attach this PS item 321 as a variable, if I send it client side, does it replicate? I think that the answer is no, because we tested it another time. Let me save this thing. We tested it another time, and it was not replicating a piece. I don't remember which piece. Is not replicating, but there was a piece it was not replicating, actually. Let me try to understand if I remember what was that. No, it's not this one. I don't remember, but we did some reasoning a few days ago. I will have to go back and check the... What is this classes 2, by the way? The same as classes. Okay. Anyway, I think we should just proceed and see if it works. I think that is what we can do, because so the only issue I have is that now I need two classes, right? I need two classes. I need PS item, and then I need a PS item. And a PS item is my actor. So by the way, it did compile. So I just changed those pieces, and it actually did compile. I think changing it to an actor was a good idea in theory, but in practice was not what I needed to do. Let me see if I can. Do something here. Let me see if I can put back the thing that I removed. I think these guys have been very helpful anyway, so it's very good that they helped me quite a bit. So at least to reason on this stuff. If I put back this, right? I think I would like to ask them this piece as well. Another question. When I start my server, I load a character class like this. Then when it spawns an NPC, it uses that class this way. Let me just is that okay, or is there a different way of doing it? Because the problem is that here we are incurring in the same problem, you know. So like when I do the static creation of my character here, I instantiate it, and it's try to instantiate the inventory, and it's try to instantiate all the PS item that it contains and everything else, you know. Okay, as a default one, but he's actually trying to do it for real. And then here I'm spawning. I think it's probably okay. For the character it's probably okay, but for the character we have the same problem, huh? It's the same thing. So in my PS character, which is this one, a PS character, I have the actor, and I have all my metadata, all of it, right? We have it, is here. So whenever we are instantiating APS character server side, we are actually instantiating an actor. In fact, now that you let me think about it, I think I do. You see, I do a new APS character. I do a new APS character here, which probably I should not do. It may be the same problem. Maybe the same, but it works though. I mean, up to now, our characters are spawning properly, and it seems to work okay. So I didn't have an issue with the character. Probably because whenever I have a character, it's actually in game. I mean, there is not an inventory of characters, like, or a list of characters. So that's probably the reason. That's probably the reason, right? I don't have. But anyway, let me just check something. So if we compile this way and we run this way, right? Can we get the inventory of one guy? I want to get the inventory of the main character, right? So without spawning anything to the world, because actually spawning it something to the world was like a second step, and I know exactly why I put together the two things. So I tried to do two things at the same time. So convert all the classes, and at the same time I wanted to change it to an actor, but I think it was a bad idea to do it at the same time. So this thing works. So if I want to get send inventory, which was actually the thing I wanted to call like 3 hours ago or 3 days ago. Send inventory is here. Is under server char manager, so everything is properly initialized. Now, can I get... The problem is that the inventory message is just insane. I mean, did you see it? If I open this, look at this freaking inventory. I mean, it's huge. This is what we are sending client side. This is what we are sending client side. We are sending come on, we are sending this shit. So we are sending inventory, so total items 93. Am I sending also the items contained in a container? Because I don't know. Max weight 45, cache version 8, I have no idea what is this. List 1. So list, this is the list. 1 might glyph inside a specific container. Container -1, slot 23, 25, purified 2. 1 ring of the past. I have the ring of the past, boys. 1 ring of the past, container -1, slot 2320. Well, I don't know. Is it sending also the stuff that is in the containers? I think it does. Because I don't have here the glyph, right? It's inside one of these boxes. I don't know where. Yeah, it's inside, like might glyph, there is it. Might glyph, creature glyph, arrow glyph, energy glyph, light glyph. So all of this stuff is inside the same container. Light glyph, summon glyph, all of this, rock glyph, lining, illness, vortex. Slot 36. So all of this stuff is inside the same container. The question is why we are sending it if then when I right click it's sending me the description again. You see, when I right click on a freaking box, it's sending me the inside of that box. So why should it send me the full inventory with the stuff contained into the containers? I think it should not. I think it's, I don't know why we are sending it all. Maybe because we have to calculate something? No, we don't. I don't think so. I think we should not send the containers. I mean the items inside the containers. Because when I click on this, you see, boom, I have yes, I have my thingy. I have the inside of right. I have it right. Message view container, or maybe it's already client side. No, I think this is all I need. This is everything. Yeah. Message view container. Okay. Anyway, I think that we are sending. For some reason, we are sending the full inventory, including containers, and I don't think that's a great idea. Because let's imagine that a container is locked. I mean, if a container is locked, I can see what's inside. I don't want to be able to see what's inside. I don't want to be able to see what's inside because it's locked. If I cannot open it, why we are sending everything? Sending items, get inventory, blah blah blah, get inventory count, location in parent. So we are extracting get location in parent through, but where do we get the container? I don't think we do. I think we just send get location in parent through. What is this through, by the way? Adjust the slot. Adjust the slot. Adjust lot equal to false. Returns the location of this item in its parent item or in the player equipment. Okay. The problem I have is this send inventory, which is sending freaking everything. I think we should change it, but I don't know if we should change it also on the original plan shift. Sends decline and inventory. I mean, is there any reason why we need the full client side? Why we need the full client side? I don't think so. I mean, server side for sure, but client side, because this for is pretty stupid. This for is just looping, you know, on the full inventory, and then for each item, right? It's logging in. This one, unfortunately, I cannot really enable server side. I mean, I could if I use my own local server, but I could even do it, but it's okay. But I think it will print out anyway. I think it will send the full set, right? I think we should just have a check here if it's inside a container. Then if it's inside a container, we should skip it. Which I don't know exactly how to do it, but I think it should just be something like wait, oops, what did I do? Okay, something like item. I think if you get parent item, get parent component, or get location in parent. How do I know if this is in a get location in parent? Because get location in parent in theory, but parent item ID, parent item instance ID. Now wait a second, I think we have it already. I don't have to query this. I think if I just go in my APSI, I think my item, wait a second, I think I can just do item parent. No, I don't have a parent item something. Come on, I don't believe it. There is this parent item instance ID, but this is not the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for the parent ID. So basically, in our database is the parent. What is the name of this thing in the database? The name in the database is parent item ID. So there is the one, parent item ID. You know, parent item ID. Exactly. Is loaded into parent item instance ID. And if it's -1 or is null, then is just directly in the inventory of the character. So I think I should just say if parent item instance ID, right? Assuming it's not 0, if item parent item instance ID. Why I cannot get this? Parent item instance ID. Is protected or something? I think it's private. Points to the object that contains this object, or not if there is none. Okay, yes, I cannot access it. Can I? Is there a method that allows me to get this? If not, we can just create it. Yes, it's called get container ID, by the way. Okay. Get container ID. Is this private as well, or is public? I hope it's public. So it's called get container ID. Yes, get container ID. So if there is a container, then we should just not send it. We should just continue and skip it. Okay. We don't want to send items inside containers to the client. Example, items inside a locked chest. I think we don't want to send it, right? We don't want to send it. Maybe this code was created before we had containers or something like that, and so we never thought about it. We never thought about it, and you don't have yours. You mean the Ring of the Past? I don't know. I can check for you, but it should be somewhere unless you dropped it. And isn't it the update for the inventory? I don't remember. I don't know what you were referring to. Was 10 minutes ago. I'm sorry. I didn't read your chat. I didn't read the chat quick enough. But I think we can. I will have something like this added in Unreal Engine. Okay, so I will have a tag like this, just that we forked the code, we changed the code. But anyway, this one I think should be fine. We just want to be able to call this function, this send inventory. The only problem is that how do we find ourselves in this mess? How do we find ourselves in this mess? Well, actually, the APS character is properly replicated. So instead of client num, I think what I can pass in is an APS character. And who is calling send inventory, by the way? Do I have it in one of my files? No. No. I don't have it in one of my files. Okay, so who is calling this send inventory? Send inventory is called by update item views, which was the one that we seen before that was doing all the updates, right? And it's called by update. All the updates are every time you are changing an item is resending the inventory. When you are deleting an item, when you are exchanging an item, so this send inventory is called basically everywhere. Check exchange, because it's basically sending back the inventory whenever there is handle accept player exchange. Yes, whenever there is an exchange, it's sending it again. But I think that is the class we want to, right? I was just checking if there is actually the method we should call or not, or if there is a father method, because in theory there should be a father method in our there should be a handle inventory message or something like that. Handle inventory, is there an handle inventory message? Yes, there is an handle inventory message. This one on PS server chart. Okay. So I think this is the original one that we should call handle inventory message. The problem is that now it's too late. I have to go. That's a pity though. This only from an inventory message and an inventory message entry, PS character of client. Yeah, it's too late. I really need to go. PT. Handle inventory message incoming. I don't know if this one is the one that reads or the one that generates. Send inventory. Request, update request. Ah, yeah, we have seen it the other day. I remember this thing. So the client was launching the request to the server. And yes, but anyway, this is the one that we have to call. Okay, we should remember this. Let's put it somewhere here. This thing we don't need anymore, I guess. Well, I don't know. Let's put it at the bottom. But function to call to send the inventory is this one. Okay, server char manager. How do we get the server char manager? It's pretty simple. We have a global variable that we called char manager, right? I think we do. We are so close, boys. We are so close to do this. Server char manager is this one. So what I will have to do, I will have to create a function inside my player controller, because anyway it's just a broadcast to me, it's not a broadcast to everyone. So inside my player controller we will create a function that is called it's not an event. Well, it's not an event. Well, I think it might be an event like this, because we want on the UI, we want to call the UI when so we need two functions. We need one which is like client requests the inventory information, okay, and this one will be category inventory, blueprint callable, receive inventory info, receive inventory is fine. It will get the it will have, well, the target, I don't care. I mean, there is no target actually. There is no target. It's just me, and I know who is me. So there will be something like this, okay? Just a receive inventory, and this one will actually be implemented inside player controller base very simply. So it will be f string. I mean, if we keep the f string idea, then we can also change it, not do an XML, do an array of objects and replicate the array of objects on the other side, so we avoid the XML parsing and all of that shit, right? So we can change the message to be not an XML, but to be an actual Unreal Engine something. But let's say that here we will have, right? So here we will have something like char manager, which is our char manager, which we should have, because in our Plansheet player controller we can include it. It's called PS server char. We can include it. So we can call, come on, please. You can do it. But anyways, char manager handle inventory. Why it doesn't do it? Still parsing the file. Takes 1 hour. Takes 1 hour to parse the freaking file. Handle. No. Wasn't there a handle inventory message? Handle inventory. Why does it handle inventory message is not? It's not in the list of things I can call. There is only handle message. Why? Why? Server char manager. Okay, server char manager is fine. Do I still have it in Gem? Maybe I still have it declared in Gem as a dummy, huh? Let me check. Server char manager. Maybe I still have it here. No, I don't have it. Okay. So why this is not showing up? Because it's protected. I mean, who cares that it's protected? All the handles should be public. No reason why they should be protected. All this handle thing is because before we were doing it differently. The send storage. I don't know why all of this is considered protected. I mean, protected you can have the variables, that's fine, but not the rest. Okay, that's why it was not showing up. So now we take another hour for the freaking IntelliSense to understand that it changed. Anyway, here we call our handle inventory message, right? And this will return the XML that we want. And then from the editor, when we click that button, we call this function, and considering that everything should now be working, we get at least an XML of our inventory. Then we can work on the actor things, so which is the thing that we discussed before, but at least let's say now we understand it. We can work with the other messages. When I'm dropping an item, I will create the actor. When I'm picking up an item, I will destroy the actor. Okay, so that is what we will do. This is what we will do. It's pretty cool anyway. I think next time I stream, I think we will have the inventory working. I mean, at least the getting this inventory thing on the client side, displaying maybe some icon or something, right? Because all the work that I did during the weekend of converting these three classes, it's a bit of a pity that tonight we wasted quite some time just reasoning on that actor thing, but it's okay. I mean, it's okay. We had to do this reasoning, and it's okay. So this is where we are. If I can, I will stream tomorrow evening. If not, it's in 2 days from now. Let's see. Depends a bit on the work. So with that said, it's really time to go. I will leave you with this old Planeshift client started up. So people will think it's the real game, but actually it's not, because it is the old game. But who cares? And I will see you next time.